The starting gate is in motion.
And they're off, and Nordic catcher shoots out.
Congratulations to everyone who purchased yearlings at our sale last year. Standardbred Horse Sales Company is excited to watch your 2-year-olds train, and we wish you the best of luck at the races. We look forward to seeing more future champions. We'll see you November 2nd through the 6th in Harrisburg, as once again we will be offering 3 days of the sport's top yearlings as well as the #1 mixed sale in the industry. Don't miss it. See you in Harrisburg.
Winback Farm of Canada is home to 9 outstanding stallions, including Metro-based champion Captain's Quarters, who's new in 2026. Beach Class, winner of the Meadowlands Pace and the Last Great Son of Some Beach Somewhere, his first yearling crop sells in 2026. Lawless Shadow, an O'Brien Award winner and Meadowlands Pace champion, whose first crop sells in 2026. The Great McWicked, the richest pacing stallion in harness racing history, and 2-time O'Brien Award winner Tattoo Artist, a winner on every size track with many stakes and track records. Also standing Better Than Cheddar, Betting Line, My MVP, and Trixton. For more information, it's winbackfarm.com.
Canada's premier yearling auction, the London Classic Yearling Sale, returns this October. Hundreds of yearlings from Canada's top breeders and major buyers, all under one roof at the JR Expo Centre. And American buyers, remember, your dollar goes further here. From the world-renowned Ontario Sire Stakes program to the Grand Circuit, London Classic graduates compete at the sport's highest level. You can't afford to miss the London Classic Yearling Sale, October 13th and 14th. For more information, visit londonclassic.ca.
We're here today at Southern Oaks talking to Dr. Ian Moore. Dr. Moore, I would be remiss if I didn't start mentioning, first of all, happy birthday, Nancy, but also give us an update on Bojangles, the O'Brien and Dan Patch Horse of the Year.
Bojangles trained yesterday, and another doubleheader. I think we went in 2-4 and a bit yesterday, and everything's still moving forward as planned. It's amazing how time catches up with you, because I'm just thinking like it's only a month before we're going to qualify him. Haven't had him in the bike yet, and I like to get lots of miles in the 50s in him because he's going to have to start right at the top. So I think it should be fine, though. We'll use the 2 qualifiers here on the 10th and 17th of April as our last training mile. So all is looking good at this point. I hooked him up with Prince Hal Hanover yesterday, by the way, for the first time. So that was kind of cool.
That had to have been. Also, I know I see a lot of videos down here because some of the ownership is the same on both horses.
Yes, it is. Wait a minute now. Just the Boltons are, yeah, they're in on Prince Hal. So they're here. They were here all here yesterday. They come up quite a bit. They're not too far away. So.
Let's talk about jumping into Mascarpone, a pacing colt, $80,000 London Stay Hungry out of Creme, French.
He's a beautiful colt. He was a very flashy individual as a yearling. He still is. I love a black horse, and I like to have shadow play, I guess. And I went and looked at him, and Nancy was with me, and I just walked out, so we got to buy that one. So actually, I x-rayed him when I was there because I knew we were going to buy him anyway. So he was one of a kind in London, like a Stay Hungry. There was some American breds in that sale, but not too many. And typically, they'll bring a little bit more than they would say of at Harrisburg with the pedigrees and so on. So, but 80 was pretty realistic, and I had a problem with that horse because I had spoken to a few people about him, but after I bought him, there was at least 15, maybe 16 of the partners wanted in on him. So I had to obviously exclude some. There's 8 of us right now as it is. I think it's 8, yeah. So I had to exclude some, and that was difficult, especially people that had been with me for a long time. So just did the best we could. Now, we had a lot of trouble with him breaking him. He was very, very difficult. He was primarily raised and handled by a lady, and she did a great job. She worked for Glengate Farm. But sometimes then when the men get a hold of them, they want them to do what we want to do. It was difficult. So it was quite a challenge for the first 6 weeks. Then we got him going, but then he was sick, coughing and all kinds of lung situations into mid-January. Finally, when he got over that, it's just like a whole different horse. 62-inch hobble on him, and away he goes now, and he's just a beautiful animal. It's very strong and powerful.
One of the benefits that you have, Doc, is that you actually go and x-ray these horses yourself.
Yeah, I do. There's not many that we buy without x-raying them before the sale. There are some, because I'm standing there and this one's going too cheap, I'm going to buy it, right? So, but, for the most part, probably at least 80% of the yearlings that we do buy, we do x-ray prior. That never used to be my thing. I grew up in a different world, I guess, in younger days, but I can't remember how long ago, but maybe it was here, so maybe say 8-10 years ago, we bought a yearling, and he was super good for the first 2 months, and then all of a sudden just started, just showing a little bit off behind and not the same attitude. And he had a couple of developmental problems that we weren't going to be resolved, and it affected him. So since that time, we tried to x-ray everything.
What is the things that you will excuse on an x-ray, and what is a definite no?
Well, that's it depends on the horse and the entire situation. OCDs, I'll take every one of those. They don't bother me at all. And in fact, I have a different mentality than a lot of trainers do. I mean, they get OCDs that are not taken out prior to the yearling sale, and they go do it a couple weeks later. I've got several we're going with now that have OCDs in them, and no problems. I've had some really good horses race with OCDs, and no issues, nothing, no medical treatments, nothing. So, they're what's called the developmental problems. So they've been there since weaning time. Irregularities in the development of a certain bone, say in the hock or the ankles, and the horses have lived with them that long, so I'm going to train them down, and I'm not going to do surgery on them unless it's required. There are some, especially with ankle chips. Hock OCDs are not bad, but there are some that we get down to 2 minutes and they start showing off, and so we remove them then. It's not an issue for me whether they're a month late getting there or whatever, and I'd rather not do it unless necessary to do so, because you're taking a risk with anesthesia and a joint surgery and so on. Some other developmental problems which might include what's called ununited processes, where in the pastern there could be a fairly large chunk, if you like, at the back of the pastern that hasn't knitted down properly. I'll exclude those. That was the colt that I just told you about. He had two of them, one in each hind ankle. Some horses have more than one chip in an ankle, and I might exclude those depending on where the chips are, what type of chips they are, and what they look like, I guess what the joint looks like. Stifle OCDs, very difficult. Usually try to stay away from them, although a few years back we had a horse called Rockin' in Heaven that had two of them, and he made $1 million. So, so there's always one. I mean, we started the conversation after I found out about that, and I found out through Bruce Saunders, because he had Rock and Roll Hanover. And a couple of days after the sale, we're at the Meadowlands, we were discussing all the ones he had and the one that I got. And he said, that colt's got two OCDs in there. And I told the other, I think there was 5 of us, or 6 of us, I can't remember now. And I said, I like them, so I'm going to stay in. You guys do whatever you want. They all stayed in.
And then exception to every rule.
Yeah, there is so.
Let's move on to Shalom Hanover, a pacing colt, $50,000 Harrisburg purchase, Papi Rob Hanover out of Sammy's Magic Girl. The last time we spoke, you had a sister, Sis. The colt looked very impressive today training.
He's a very gritty, right on the iron colt, and it has been right from the get-go. I really like him. His sister was very small. Like the Mackenzies, Jim and Wilma, like the 3-letter names. That's where the Sis came from. She was a Hanover. I can't remember what it was now, but it's a good family, obviously, Scarlet Hanover and so on. And Sis would give you all she got, but just no power because of her size. But they wanted to have her, and they're in on Shalom. I think there's 5 of us in on him. I've got so many partners now, it's hard to get 4s anymore. We all have to have stable names, right? So, but he's a real nice colt, and I'm optimistic about him and the Stay Hungry that we spoke about as well.
Moving on to Detonator Hanover, your only trotter. You trained today in your group with the Pacers, a $80,000 Harrisburg purchase, muscle mass.
He's just a super colt. He puts a smile on my face every day because I haven't had many trotters, as you're aware, in recent years. We started the year this year with 2 of them. One was King of the North, brother to Logan Park, and Willie's Home Run. The Bojangles group owned him, and unfortunately, he became what's commonly known as a wobbler syndrome. So I don't like training young trotters with Pacers because, you know, how the Pacers take off in a hurry and all that sort of thing. But this guy's fitted right in. I like to sit him in the middle. And, you know, he's really good. We all went in 23 with him today, and he had lots left for sure.
He definitely did. Moving on to We Want It All, sold as Zilch Dog Sergeant, a pacing filly, $200,000 from Lexington. Bulldog Hanover, out of Beach Gal, a half-sister to Ammo, born and raised here in Florida.
Yeah, last March, Riley Noble looks after Bojangles. We flew up in my plane to Ocala to go look at the yearlings that Sergeant Farms had. There's 19 of them, and he was the only one I liked out of the 19. The Boltons came with me because they wanted to buy weanlings, and I said that may or may not be a good idea, but they didn't. But that one was the only one I liked. Now, I never noted her name or anything like that, but then Brad Grant called me. This is the first year we have horses for him, and he bought her and Money Carlo for $175, both at Lexington, both Bulldogs. And then Roddy says, you know, that's the filly we liked at Ocala, right? So I said, oh, that's great. So 3 fillies in that last set. They could go wherever you want right now. They're all just, we're just hanging on to them. 2 of them have earplugs in already, and they've had them for a while now. And the other one, the one I had, the one you're speaking of, We Want It All. She doesn't wear earplugs, but she's got lots of go to her as well.
I was so impressed with all of your training trips today. Let's talk about Money Carlo. As you said, $175,000 Lexington purchase, Bulldog Hanover, out of She's Some Treasure, consigned by Cameo Hill Farms. She has quite an impressive page in the catalog.
Yeah, she does. And you know, Brad said to me, I can't believe I got them so cheap. It's because they weren't dual eligible, I guess. So depends what your definition of cheap is, maybe. But still, they were both, at this point, they look like they're nice buys. And with a lot of the babies, all the babies we're talking about here today, they've all got the gait, they've all got the size, and they've got some pedigree behind them. So it's all going to come down to how fast they're genetically bred to go. That's what I'm telling the owners. Everything's cool at this point in time, but I don't like to get them too excited because today there's probably 100 of them going in 23 out here, right? So.
Moving on to You Are My Shadow, a shadow play out of Ubiquitous Hanover, a Nova Scotia private sale.
Yeah, she's been a very nice surprise for us. She's reverse breeding a Prince Hal Hanover, who's treacherous out of Shadow Play mare, Percy Blue Chip, who we had. And this one obviously is by Shadow Play out of a treacherous mare, and I think it's her first fall. And so we always look at and buy shadow plays that are worthy of buying. I don't buy them on emotion just because they're shadow plays. They still got to fit my bill and everything that I want. And so she was raised in Nova Scotia. The story goes that Greg McKenzie, a small breeder over there with his wife Megan, and they had kept a horse called Impeccable for several years. After he's done racing for us, they were going to use him for a little bit of breeding. This is back around 2007-8, somewhere around there. He got lost in a fire, but we never gave him any money or anything. He called me 3 years ago now on the way home from Harrisburg. I think he bought it at Harrisburg sale, or maybe he bought it private, I can't remember. But he was in Maine when he called me and said, I got a treacherous mare, I want to breed the shadow play. And I said, well, you know, he's New York this year, and no problem. So I said, you know, I talked to my partner, Ron McClellan, RG Group Limited, and we decided we'd give him the breeding for looking after Impeccable, but we get first option. So she was entered in the Atlantic Classic, and the week before the sale down there in PEI, Ron went and looked at her, and So here she is. The breeder kept 10%. So it was Ron McClellan, Serge Savard, myself, and Greg McKenzie in on her. She had an accident early December, got wedged under a gate and jammed between the 2 posts of the doorway, and was quite an effort to get her out. And boy, she had severe abrasions and everything all over her. But she is one tough animal, I'll tell you. And it didn't take her long to catch back up again. And now she's starting to look really good in her hair as well. So I'm very optimistic for her. I'm going to have to train her in the half a little bit because, as you know, Buffalo, Batavia, places like that, that's where she's going to have to race New York. But at this point, she's very strong.
Moving on to Following Sea, a pacing filly, $25,000 Harrisburg purchase, down by the seaside, out of sight to sea.
Yeah, she was raised at Fairwinds Farm. I think she was number 14 in the book, and I was surprised she went that cheap because her second dam is a dam of Glowing Report. It made $3 million, so she's got some background to her, and she was a lovely filly. She's very tall. She's a little bit narrow, but she goes good. You know, she doesn't. She puts her feet down in the right way, so she's not going to. We have shin boots on her, but that's all. And she's come along really nice. She's been on the right line of touch. Recently, I went to a jawbreaker. I'm going to switch it again maybe next time out, but she's been a nice filly as well.
And lastly, Tenacious, a pacing filly, $125,000 Harrisburg purchase, Bulldog Hanover out of Lady Be Great, a half-sister to Greatest Endings and En Avant.
We had Greatest Ending, as you know, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, and that's been a good family. She started out not so good. Bit of an attitude, the wrong attitude that we'd like to see. I have 2 fillies actually that started that way, and I just put them on Regulate right away. I don't fool around with it because the more you try to push one like that, the more trouble and prolonged that attitude is going to be there. So she was just so all along here, and she's been sick also for a long time. I used a lot of antibiotics and Benny Pullman and whatever on her, and but just recently, like say in the last 3 weeks, she's got over all that, and she just like flipped the light switch on, and she's become a real nice filly now too. I think that's the first time she caught one today. She comes from behind and just goes blowing by everybody. And you can tell looking at her that she's got some catching up in her growth to do. She's higher in her hind end than she is in the front now. Everything out of that family was big. Greatest Ending and En Avant was super big. So I expect she will be as well. So she's doing well. She may be a little later than the others because I'd like her to be caught up in her growth and all that sort of thing. So, but we've got a nice bunch here. We've got 15 babies now, and probably one of the better bunches I've ever had down here at this point. I've got one that's got a little issues of being beside horses all the time. He's a little nervous, but other than that, most everything, I can't complain at all.
They look amazing. Is it the same size stable as you've normally had, or have you gone up a little bit?
Well, in recent years, I guess I've been around 16 babies, maybe a few more. We have 6 3-year-olds, counting Bo, and then Prince Hal, the 4-year-old this year. Last year, I think I had 22. Yeah, so it's the same. I find 20 is a pretty good number to manage for me. I try every year for the last 5 years. There's 16 in a row there, and I try to. All I tell Carter is I'm giving you the deposit for 16. That's it. And then I'm saying, well, and that was a story about Bo I told you as well, where I decided I was going to take 6 more, and he was one of those. So yeah, we'll see what happens with the ones we got.
You, at 20 or 22, that is a limited number considering the money starts and your presence on the big stage every year. What do you attribute that to?
Oh, a lot of things, I guess. I think, you only get one chance buying a yearling, so you want to make sure you get what you want. Years ago, when I only had $1,000 in my pocket or whatever, I'd buy one and take it home and stand there at the barn looking in the stall like, what did I buy that for, So I like to go home now and look in the stall and say, wow, what do you think of that one, So I think it's very important to select yearlings. I like an individual. I'll take an individual over a weaker page, where I won't take a poor individual over a stronger page. And, that's me. So you go to the sale with a lot of expectations. Sometimes you get there and it's often a big letdown. But there's always one in the rough that you find then as well. So we try to buy them right. We've obviously stuck with some of the stallions that we've had, like Shallow Play, and I've had a couple of Century Pharaohs last year. One of the fillies did very well, and I can't remember, but you know, we've done some of that. I go by sire lines when I look through a book. I try to stick with Ontario, but there's not enough of them to go around, and the ones that are there, they're paying big money for them. They're paying a premium for them. So we always end up with some American bred horses. I love Stay Hungries, and I love, you know, because they're buyable. I love Papi Robs for the same reason, and yet those have been rock solid stallions in Pennsylvania and across North America. So I guess, and the other thing is I have terrific help the last several years, especially down here in Florida. I've got Bob and Sheila Mitchell, who are Chantel's parents, Chantel Mitchell in Ontario, and so I've got Riley Noble looking after Bo, and Joe Tolino's been with me a number of years. He's our road guy. He's got a O2 visa under my visa, so he travels with Prince Hal and Clever Cody and horses like that in recent years. Let's see, I've got a young lady in Florida that's worked for us on Sundays and part-time for the last 6 years. She's going to come back to Canada with this year, and I'm very thrilled about that. She's a great girl. So I've got really, really good help, and I do it in Canada as well. You have to have good help. You got to have good riders. I've got Ted Nadhazy and Brad Furlot. They both read a watch really well, and I find that's very important with the baby. Like I was telling you, 5 sets today, all 23 flat to 23 and 2. I mean, every one of them. And that's what I want. I don't want to be, you know, I think it's very important to do that with the baby as well. So all of those things. And the other thing, of course, is I've got about 30 tremendous partners where, you know, if I wanted to buy one for $500,000, it'd be no problem. However, none of the expensive ones that we've ever bought have really been any good, other than Prince Hal was $135, Arthur Blue Chip was $135. I'm thinking that those are the 2 highest priced ones that we had that turned out pretty good. But we've spent as much as $260 on one, or US and Canadian. I can think of 2 of them now, and you know, no luck at all. You know, if I have problems with a particular sire, and I won't name one, but say I do and I don't like them, I never go back to that sire. One chance for me, and that's it. And I mean, that's the way a lot of the industry is as well, as you know. So those are the primary reasons, and management, the way they're cared for, and the training, very important on the watch. Bring them down slowly. Too fast, too soon, too far, too often. We never try to do that with any of our babies. So.
Just coming in this morning, when you talk about stable management, I noticed it's a very quiet operation. Horses were getting ready, Nancy's setting out the feed. It seems like that is one of the things that I was very impressed with.
Well, sometimes it's not quiet. It depends. Yeah. But I try to be a good boss, if you like. I ran my own practice for about 12, 13 years, so I had a number of people working for me. And then I worked at the Atlantic Vet College for a number of years and had students and people working for me. So I try to treat all of my help with respect and dignity the way that I would like to be treated if I was in the same position. And they all know that I've been there, done that too. I mean, I was 14 at the Meadows working for Cecil Champion. I think I told you that one time, top of the hill, right? So I've been a groom. I know what it's like, so you don't need to whine and cry at me. And you know, in recent years, it's come down to what you can tolerate now. With you know, grooms aren't the same as they used to be 20 years ago. Sheila and Bob are the last of the old-time grooms. They come back at night, they pick their stalls and all that. Nobody does that anymore. So I have to tolerate that, because that's what I would do too. But you know, there's certain things I can't tolerate, and most of these guys soon figure out what it is. But I don't go screaming at anybody. I try to, you know, discuss in a nice, congenial way and rectify it for next time. So that's what we're doing. We have a new girl with us now from Niagara Falls, Catherine, who's replacing Sheila with the broken wrist. We, you know, there's been a few things, but nothing to get mad at or anything like that. So I try not to do that.
Well, I understand. Well, I think that the respect that you put out, you get back, and obviously good to good. And I wish you the best of luck with your 2026 season.
Thank you very much. I hope we're doing interviews again down the road.
Sounds good. Thank you.